Bonjour à tous.
Hello everyone,
Bienvenue
welcome
sur
to Choose Your Boat. Today we would like to present the RM 1070. But first we would like to tell you about the RM shipyard and their truly unique boats. Unique indeed in many ways. Most apparent is their elegant design, with racy lines inspired by today's offshore racing boats. Then, beneath the elegance, there is the building material. RM boats are made of wood, plywood epoxy to be exact. This is the fabrication technique we have been using for 30 years. It is the source of our boat's very special character. It is well known that wood has a good strength-to-weight ratio, but as a building material, it also has qualities that are more difficult to quantify. Anyone who comes aboard can feel it. The thermal and acoustic insulation are remarkable. RMs are blue water cruisers, perfectly suited to sailing with the whole family or short-handed. An RM can take you there, whatever your offshore or coastal cruising projects may be. RM designs every boat so as to optimize ergonomics. Getting around on board can be done in complete safety. In addition to the ergonomics of movement on board, there is also the ergonomics of maneuvers. This means that the sail plan can be adapted to make handling the boat easier. For example, RMs are very often outfitted with a cutter rig, so equipped with a jib. This is an all-purpose sail in up to about 20 knots of wind. There is also a furling staysail, which is a sail adapted to light or medium winds in some cases. But above all, these maneuvers can all be done from the cockpit. It is no longer necessary to change a sail on deck, and there are sails for all kinds of weather. On all RMs, for safety and for the ergonomics of movement aboard, there is an integral tow rail, which runs from the stern forward. So, aside from the structural rigidity the tow rail adds to the boat, it mainly serves as a foothold whenever the boat is heeled over. All the way forward, there is access to the anchor locker. Inside the anchor locker, there is a considerable amount of space. One of the advantages of such a large space is being able to store a spinnaker here during a longer cruise. Cruisers will most likely agree. There is nothing more horrible than fetching a spinnaker out of a small, damp aft cabin and sliding it all the way forward on the deck, just to be able to hoist it. In the 1070, it is possible to store a sail in the anchor locker while you are cruising. Of course, once your cruise is over, it is wise to dry your sail out inside the boat or at your sailmakers. Once again, with the idea of optimizing safety and movement on board, in addition to the handrails, RM has opted for non-slip paint on the entire deck. You may also notice that the few areas where there is no anti-slip are white. So even on inclines like this, you can walk safely, even when the deck is completely wet. The RM is a modern boat with handling that offers very good performance in either light or medium winds. But an RM also handles well in stormy weather, so sailors can return to port in complete safety. That's why the boat is both light and strong. It is a boat you can trust. But in order to take full advantage of the boat, cockpit ergonomics must correspond to intended use. To that end, the cockpit is organized into two areas. First is at the helm stations, and the second, further forward, is for maneuvers. Here every maneuver comes back into the cockpit. All the cleats and all the winches are easily within reach. Here are the Genoa winches. So why are they mounted inboard? Because most of the time there are guests on board, and those guests most often feel like they are seated in the wrong spot. They settle in here, and as soon as you pull out a winch handle, they get the impression that they are in the way. No, in fact not at all. RM has located the winches so that guests have a space all their own, a space free from any danger from lines or equipment. When the crew is here to perform maneuvers or trim the sails, they can put one leg here for stability and look forward with a straight back. This position puts the crew in an optimally ergonomic position. On many boats, the crew must first brace their knees, bend their back, and then try to turn their heads 90 degrees to see forwards. 50% of their energy is wasted just maintaining their stability. Here, 100% of the crew's energy is available for sail adjustments. RMs are particularly beamy boats. It is easy to see on a boat 10 meters 70 in length. The beam is 4 meters wide, so it's a little more than average, but that width goes all the way aft. Why all the beam, you might ask? The main reason for the wide beam is to make the hull powerful, which is in fact synonymous with stability. When the wind starts gusting, instead of broaching right away, making everyone throw themselves at the sheets, in fact the boat will only heel over slightly. The wide beam resists the wind in the sails and the boat starts to accelerate. With an RM, average speeds are quite high, while physical effort is quite low. This is one of the big advantages of this type of boat. On the RMs in general, and on the RM 1070 in particular, like the one we are presenting today, there are several lockers to aft. In fact, at the transom, there are 2 lateral lockers which can be used to store equipment. It is a good place for mooring lines, fenders, perhaps even a tender. Everything that is essential to have at hand for immediate use. Amidship, there is a dedicated life raft locker. A life raft should never end up at the bottom of a locker with a dozen fenders on top of it. That's why there is an entirely dedicated and easily accessible locker in the middle of the boat. Just behind this locker, there is access to the telescopic bathing ladder and railing. The railing is there to help swimmers get out of the water or jump into the water. It is easier than if there were nothing. In any case, it's a boat well suited to activities at anchor. As on many RMs, this 1070 is equipped with dual wheels. One advantage of dual wheels is the unencumbered space in the cockpit, with easy access to the swimming area. The dual wheel can be used in a standing position, with a footrest here, that provides good footing and a comfortable posture when the boat heels. It is also possible to sit down, with another dedicated foothold. Seated like this, it is possible to lean against the stern rail. At the same time, adjusting the mainsail is also possible thanks to this optional winch. As on many boats, there is also a plotter located here at the helm station. The plotter, of course, shows you where you are and where you are going. So far, we have seen that the RMs are very elegant, racy sailboats with optimized ergonomics and safety features. An RM can be used as a recreational boat when you're at anchor and want to take full advantage of that time. But your RM can also become a completely unique boat. Indeed, RM offers customization options that go well beyond what is normally offered. Of course, it is possible to choose an aluminum mast, as on this boat, or a carbon mast, but beyond that, RM can build a boat for you in a totally unique color. A color you choose with us when you order the boat. RM will produce this color only for you. But RM goes even further. Customization options also include the hull appendage that is adapted to your sailing program, including a twin keel, which allows a sailboat to dry out on land or to be stored more easily on the hard, a fin keel, the most well-known type, and finally a lifting keel, which has 2 advantages. It can reduce the boat's draft for access to almost any anchorage with at least a meter of water, as well as being able to access all ports. With the keel lowered, the draft is deep, so the boat is very stiff to the wind, improving performance and handling. There are also rudder options. A single rudder, which is ideal in combination with a twin keel to form a tripod for easily drying out the boat, or twin rudders for more control of the boat in more extreme conditions. When first entering an RM, the first thing that stands out is how little difference there is between being outside and being inside. The fact is, on many boats, when you go below decks, you get the impression you're going down into a cellar. On an RM, with its bright modern interior, a rather refined contemporary interior, one gets the impression of being in a living room with a sea view, which is particularly nice when you cruise as a family. As you can see, the interior is very bright, sober, and contemporary. It is also packed with useful features that are useful at sea, such as the U-shaped galley, which makes it possible to brace yourself to either side and cook with greater stability at sea. There is easy access to the trash, a spacious fridge, and of course a large gas stove. There are handrails and fiddles just about everywhere, such as here on my right or on all the furniture. There is always some place to grab a hold so as to make movement around the boat safe and secure. But there is still more to see. When in the galley, quite often one feels a little disconnected from the rest of the crew. On an RM, all you have to do is turn your head and you can see straight back into the cockpit, thanks to the gently sloping companionway. Indeed, the companionway has a gentle slope and is very shallow. This provides unobstructed visual contact with the rest of the crew. Thanks to the many portholes, the visibility is excellent. In other words, I can cook Basque chicken while keeping an eye on my heading, either from the chart table or the galley. When designing the RM 1070, the chart table was a priority. Today, what we see on many new boats is the gradual disappearance of the chart table. Though the boat is above all designed to be seaworthy, safe, and comfortable, on the 1070 RM decided to keep the chart table. Even with all the electronics available today, it is still a pleasure to open a map and discuss navigation with the crew. This friendly discussion brings the whole crew together to prepare the next part of the cruise. Here is the electrical panel to control the onboard equipment. There is a battery monitor which has various functions. There is a gauge for the water and diesel tanks, etc., all elegantly laid out, in harmony with the sober style of the interior. For a successful cruise, it is important to have all the right equipment, whether it's for cooking, safety equipment, or tools. To stow all the necessary gear, the RM 1070 is equipped with plenty of storage space, making the organization of your life on board as easy as possible. Under the sink, for example, there is space for all the onboard cleaning products. There are also smaller cupboards here. Of course, on all RMs, there is a technical compartment. This compartment stows all the nautical equipment inside the boat. It is located through the head. Here we are in the RM 1070 technical compartment. The compartment serves as storage space for all the necessary technical equipment on board. Everything is centralized and organized here, whether it's spare parts or maintenance supplies. Besides the storage space, the technical compartment is where much of the boat's technical systems are installed. There is good access to the different systems for visual inspection, maintenance, and repair. For example, here is the diesel tank. Over here there is access to the autopilot, both the mechanism and the electrical control box. There is the battery system, as well as the different components of the electrical system. The compartment layout makes visual inspection and maintenance easy, simplifying repairs and extending the lifespan of the boat. Even the technical compartment is bright. Since it is equipped with several portals, there is more than enough ventilation to avoid any trace of humidity, which once again improves the boat's durability. As you leave the technical compartment, you pass through the head, which is equipped with the optional heater, a shower, and of course, a toilet. Then you are back in the saloon. This saloon is particularly welcoming. As you move around the sailboat, you'll see that there is excellent 360-degree visibility. Even when you're seated, there is still great visibility of the surroundings. You can keep your eyes on the horizon, which is one of the reasons why we love sailing. In 2020, we asked Frank Darnett to redesign the interior of this boat. He proposed a very contemporary layout that was a little more cozy. The teak saloon table is an example, though in teak it is very light, as it is not solid teak, but a laminate core with teak veneer. The construction is technically challenging, but the result is stylish, elegant, and of high quality. It gives the boat real panache. The interior is both very elegant, but also very high-tech, with all of this at the service of a successful cruise. Let's have a look at the forward cabin. The forward cabin is particularly bright, thanks to the oversized portholes that provide sea views and great visibility even when lying down. The berth is a little over 2 meters long, the same in width at the head, and above all, there are very large storage lockers for a boat of this size, customizable as a wardrobe or shelves. You also have a deck hatch. This deck hatch provides ventilation for the boat in all circumstances. There are, of course, blackout curtains, so as not to be bothered by the light. On an RM, one of the main features is the volume of the aft cabins. Indeed, it is quite exceptional, thanks to the wide beam, as we've seen, 4 meters in a boat that is 10 meters 70 and which greatly improves sailing stability, well, it also creates an extraordinary volume in the aft cabins. It is easy to see. It is quite obvious. The berth is almost rectangular, which is very rare on a sailboat. And for those sleeping in this rectangular berth, there is both an opening portal at the foot of the bed and at the head. There is a large hull portal that provides more views of the horizon before falling asleep or when waking up. There is also a large storage locker with enough space to organize life on board and store all your personal belongings. In other words, on an RM, and in particular on this RM 1070 Plus, there is a particularly wide and bright aft cabin, another key feature that makes for excellent cruising. We sincerely hope that you found this visit interesting. It was good fun showing you around the boat, exploring how the boat can be customized, and examining the unique, elegant, and racy design. We hope that you are inspired to come and discover RM sailboats a little more in depth with a visit to our shipyard, where you can see firsthand our building techniques and also go for a sea trial, because that is what it is all about, sailing. We would be very happy to help you discover all our boat's unique qualities, which I am sure will win you over.